Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is brought to you by Penis Water for the ebbs and flows of life. Trust Penis 15 Water.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Caught it! Dwight!
Merrill over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world.
We're down to 2, now to 1. Here's Jordan. Yes! It's all over for Chicago.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah! And we hope it's fun for you, too. Good morning on an absolutely dreadful Thursday morning here at Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that duo, Cole Johnson. Later on in this show, we'll be joined by Chris Dietz of the Fit Down Sports Show as we go totally Dietz, as we do every Thursday around 8:30-ish Eastern. And we want to have some other things too. Now, if you want to help a brother out or help a couple of brothers out, just hit our Cash App. Go to $, Dr. K 50 for supporting my man, Mr. Snow. Or you can go to the $host Cole Johnson to support yours truly. You can also text the show at 812-274-5307. That is 812-274-5307. And support us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/SDM Sports Radio Network. That's patreon.com/SDM Sports Radio Network, where you can get behind the scenes footage from any and everything involving Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now, with all of that being said and all of the particulars out of the way, let us go on the whip around. Now, I'm going to begin at a spot where it's going to be really interesting. So we all know that before the fall, UCLA and USC said, yeah, we're going to leave and bounce from the Pac-12. We're going to go to the Big Ten. Well, a college athlete advocacy group is urging the University of California regents to block UCLA's planned move to the Big Ten Conference. Now, they're saying that the toll of the additional travel will have on athletes and academic performance and mental health would be factors as to why this would be a bad move for the University of California at Los Angeles. Now, in a letter addressed to the regents dated Wednesday, National College Players Association Executive Director Ramogi Huma said that the school's proposed move to the Big Ten seems to be a short-sighted money grab. Now, he also argued that the move would disproportionately impact a board of regents expected to rule on the potential move sometime next week. Now, Huma also went on to say the following, quote, a UCLA move to the Big Ten undermines University of California's educational mission. Close quote. Now, for those who are unaware, wait, University of California, UCLA, those are two separate schools. Yes, they are, but they are tied with one another. It basically University of California and University of California, Los Angeles, they are sister schools, part of the state's higher level educational, I guess you could say, family campuses. But before I continue, the Wonder Bread Choir has a selection to sing. And that selection is Get Off UCLA's Jock. You just can't throw all sorts of stuff on the wall to see if one of them sticks. Athletes that can't actually work, travel, race. Make up your mind as to why you think this is a bad idea. Don't just act as though it's spaghetti that you're trying to cook and see, if it just slides off the wall, that means the noodles are ready. Idiots. To the gridiron, and Kyle Shanahan is saying that we're not going to totally rule out Jimmy Garoppolo returning this season, but it's a long shot. Now, the 49ers head coach said to reporters on Wednesday, and he confirmed that Garoppolo doesn't have a Lisfranc injury on his foot, so that means he'll avoid surgery on it. And he went on to describe the injury and the toll it's probably going to take on Garoppolo and the team. Quote, "It's not a Lisfranc. They don't have to do surgery on it. So it'll be a big recovery, but much less than what we anticipated. There's that way outside chance late in the playoffs or something like that, but it's just an outside chance. I'm not really real optimistic about that, but they didn't rule it out." Close quote. Now, I know there's some who would probably rule out anyway the return of Garoppolo because many would claim that the team wins in spite of him. Nevertheless, you do have in Garoppolo a guy who actually played in the Super Bowl and led a team to an NFC championship. So you have that, and Mr. Irrelevant has done neither. And I'm not calling Brock Purdy Mr. Irrelevant in terms of he sucks. That is that's the term used to the guy who was picked last in an NFL draft. So if you pick last, which I think is 256th or somewhere around there, that's what you're termed. You're termed Mr. Irrelevant. But hopefully Purdy will not be irrelevant to the 49ers' chances because it's either him or bust with the success of that offense. Going from west to east, former Bills punter Matt Araiza. He will not face charges stemming from an alleged sexual assault, which took place when he was a member of Arizona State's team last year. Now, in review of the case, the San Diego County District Attorney's Office also said that yesterday, none of the Araiza's former San Diego State football teammates, none of Araiza's former San Diego State football teammates would be charged as well. He went on to actually say this as well. Quote, "Ultimately, prosecutors determined it is clear the evidence does not support the filing of criminal charges, and there is no path to a potential criminal conviction. Prosecutors can only file charges when they ethically believe they can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Given the understandable public interest in this case, the DA's office has a responsibility to inform the public about the process followed during the review and conclusion reached under the law, while preserving the dignity and sanctity of all individuals involved." Close quote. Now, in that, I always look at this as this, I guess, teaches us all we shouldn't rush to judgment type of thing. And that's the way I look at it with this. I think a lot of people wanted to basically say this guy was evil as soon as this was as this was mentioned, as soon as this was a possible case. So it just goes to show you have to wait and wait and wait and let all the facts play itself out before we decide to say evil, criminal. And with the Araiza, hopefully this will help his future. He might see some time on the court, on the field. He might not. Who knows? What I do know is I'm happy that he is not facing criminal charges to sexual assault. But I get the feeling this story is not over just yet. And staying with the Bills, this is unfortunate news. Not Matt Araiza, but this one. Last month, Bills pass rusher Von Miller suffered a tear in his ACL in his right knee. And they thought it was only a lateral meniscus tear. The head coach of the team, Sean McDermott, announced Wednesday, though, that it looks like Miller had exploratory surgery and his ACL was repaired. Now, because of that, because he had surgery and because he underwent surgery, that means Mr. Von Miller will not set foot on the field this year. And he might not set foot in the field until sometime well into the 2023 season. McDermott went onward to say the following, quote, very unfortunate situation for Vaughn, obviously, and for our team. We care for him, obviously, like we would any player. We know how much this means to him in terms of playing and being with the team. So we look forward to getting him back, obviously, off the field for the rest of this season and his leadership. And we're certainly thinking about him as he recovers here. Close quote. So now it looks like that Von Miller is going to have to serve as emotional support as he roots the Bills on to hopefully a Super Bowl trip and a Super Bowl championship, but he cannot affect the team on the field. Now it just has to affect on the sideline. But I'm glad that he got his ACL repaired, and hopefully everything is fine. And I wish him a speedy recovery, because when he's on the field, there are very few pass rushers that do it better than him. And the Bills will sorely miss him on that defensive front. And that will conclude today's Whip Around. To the Fanatic Feedback Zone we go. Yes, Totally Deeds. That will be on tap later on this hour. That is who the Fit Down Sports Show person is. The Hawk TV. Good morning to you, man. Hope everything is fine. You have a lot of things. You had a lot to smile about with your Commanders, although, yes, I know the 2020 tie to the Giants was sort of a slight setback, but still, that team is doing some mighty things. Victor says good morning to you, and I say good morning to Victor. Bitter Truth, man, it's good to see you back, brother. He says, wake up and go to sleep. Purdy beat the Dolphins. And then he also says, so the chick lied. I would think so. And he also says that artificial turf. Yeah. Look, as far as Purdy beating the Dolphins, yeah, but it was not a solid performance by him. I mean, 25 of 37, if I'm not mistaken, 210 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. And that was done without tape on him. Now they have tape on him, and let's see how he does going forward. But if he can mitigate how teams can actually defend him, then I think they may be onto something, because the other pieces around him can take him on. And yeah, this is why I say we can't rush the judgment on any sexual assault charges, because you never know if it is true or false. You just have to let it play. And if you do, you'll be better served. And yeah, the how can I phrase this? The dispute with the NFL Players Association, which is weak, I may add, clamoring that the NFL should go to all grass surfaces. I think it's going to continue, but I think they're going to get pushback in certain ways simply because of, well, Garoppolo injured that foot on grass. So that battle will continue. Ryan McCarthy says, good morning, Nicole, and everyone in the chat watching and listening, and everyone watching and listening as well. I'm sorry. Now, that due process has been performed on Matareza. Expect a civil suit. Ding! Exactly. That's what I see. That's why I say it's not over yet. A Pizzle 90. Love you, brother. He says, good morning. Good morning to you, man. Bitter Truth also says, Watson sucked too. He still won. As long as the 49ers stick to that misdirection passing game, they'll be fine. Good point. Because, yes, Watson was absolutely flat. But the one thing that he did do that he needed to do for the team was not make the big mistake. That happened. He didn't make that mistake. 27-14 victory in Houston. So, yeah, that's a very good point, Bitter Truth. Victor La says, good morning, Mr. McCoffey. Bitter Truth says, Jimmy got fell on, right? I think so. Yeah, he did get fell on his foot. Sig Diggy, good morning all the way in Norway. He says, happy Thursday, folks. How's everybody doing? Oh, I hope your afternoon is going well, sir. And before I go to the next topic, step aside for a quick brief moment.
Because we take this job so serious.
What in the all types of blue hell?
This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson.
riding along on this wonderful Thursday morning, although it's a little bit on the nice and wintry side. I can't continue this next segment without introducing the following person. Now batting, the man who has a smile as wide as New York to Los Angeles because Aaron Judge has re-signed with the New York Yankees. Number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420.
What's going on?
What's up, man?
Yes, my boy re-signed. He did.
Yes, he re-signed. He is now a Yankee, probably will retire Yankee now, which I believe is the smart decision that the Yankees made. And that's where we're about to go into now. So how were they able to re-sign Mr. Judge? Well, if you look at it from Aaron Boone's case, the manager of the Yankees, he had this pit in his stomach because he was thinking, well, the other shoe might drop. So he received the call about 11 p.m. Was it Wednesday night? And he called Judge 11 p.m. Tuesday night, and basically just laid it on thick. But then he received a call early the next morning, which was yesterday morning, saying that Judge resigned, and he called, of course, the general manager Brian Cashman, and Cashman said, "Yes, it's a done deal."
Unlike what they did earlier in the day, and said Sanford had signed Judge, and wasn't true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There was many outlets that rolled with that story. I didn't fool with that. I was like, I want to see it from reputable national outlets. Then that means it actually happened. So I didn't see it from there about the Giants signing them, but I definitely did about the Yankees signing them. But yeah, I believe it's a smart move to make. Your opinion about what this signing means to the Yankees?
It had to be done. They had to sign Aaron Judge. There's players that are meant to be Yankees for life. That's the uniform that they're supposed to wear for the rest of their career.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Judge is one of those special kind of players. So we haven't had one since Jeter.
Right.
We've had some great players, but we haven't had that legacy Yankee. Right. And so Aaron Judge is that player. He's, first of all, he plays the game the right way.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the most humblest people you'll probably ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
He works hard.
Mm-hmm.
The fans love him.
Yeah.
And all he has to do is win a chip, and he's there. He set a record for the American League home run, which had been standing since Maris. For the American League, see me correct? I said it correctly. The American League home run record.
Thank you. Yes. And if how can I put this? If I think the Yankees could build properly around him, and also because I think for now, since he's 30, he'll be 31 next year. So if they can find the guy that he could pass the torch to, along with him being how he is now, and seeing the power that right now rules baseball, and the Astros start to get older and they start to recede, which of course that is going to happen. That's just a natural order of life and a natural order of sports. You probably could see the ring fall on Judge.
I want to thank Mr. Cohen for going out and signing Verlander. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey Cohen. I love you for that move.
Wait.
Appreciate it.
Why are you big upping the Mets in signing Verlander?
Because he's no longer an Astro.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
What do you mean? Like, he's no longer an Astro. Anything to hurt the Astros, I am for.
I'm up for it. I'm with that. I felt that way about Judge. If he signed somewhere else, I'm like, hey, that hurts the Yankees. That makes the Astros chances better. Yeah, I totally understand that.
So, thank you, Jeffrey Cohen. Appreciate you. But they got. I didn't know Brady was a big piece for them.
Yeah,
and they still got some great starters. So
yeah, they do. So yeah,
and they're young. They're not. They lose. They lose.
That is the scary part.
That veteran leadership
Mm-hmm.
with Verlander.
Right.
But the pitchers they have are studs and they're young. I don't think any of them are even in their prime, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all from the farm system. All the new pitchers that have come up is from their farm system.
Right.
Their bullpen is sick.
Mm-hmm.
And their bullpen is a bunch of young studs as well.
Right.
What are you talking about? Like all Cohen really did was just take out that veteran leader presence to help in that rotation, but that rotation is still sick.
Yeah.
That bullpen is still sick.
Mm-hmm.
We still got a lot of content with. We need to compete with the arm race stats you have.
Right. And I think I think with the Astros farm system, that's what they were looking at. They wanted to bolster the arms, because I think their two previous World Series trips and the L's they took, I think that's what they saw. It was like, yeah, we were lacking in that department. Yeah, we got the best. We don't have the arms. Now the arms are starting to catch up. And yeah, if they're going to go further, they're going to be leaning more on their pitching than their hitting. But with that being said, I do feel as though, you're not gonna get the production that you normally would get from an Jose Altuve, and we start to see that this year in the playoffs. You won't get that from an Alex Bregman probably sometime soon.
But the thing is, they got Jeremy Pena's in the wake.
Well, yeah,
that's one thing the Astros have always been good at.
Yeah. They spot the talent.
is drafting and developing players.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they've done. Altuve,
yeah,
Correa, Springer, all these players that they were able to replace.
Yeah.
A lot of it was within the farm system.
Yeah. Yeah.
You replaced an all-star shortstop with another all-star shortstop who wins MVP of the World Series.
Yeah, MVP of the World Series, the ALCS MVP, and a Gold Glove. All in the same year. Yeah.
And is he not Rookie of the Year? Who's Rookie of the Year?
Doggone it. Mariners guy. I can see him, and I can't think of his name.
Oh, Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can understand why he didn't win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But if Julio Rodriguez wasn't here, he would have been Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I saw this playmaker. I was going to say something, but I wanted Wise to cook on Aaron Judge for a sec.
I saw that. I saw somebody post that on the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I wonder what we gave up.
Yeah, because it was a prisoner swap.
It's crazy. It's funny because this comedian came on, and I see he gave a bit on Brittany Griner, and they're like, he was talking about, yo, you know who they want to swap him for? They want to swap him for the Russian Tony Stark. This dude could create weapons and do this and this. And he says, Brittany Griner for the Russian Tony Stark. I'm like, you got a point there. Like, I understand why Biden was hesitant and not doing that swap, because you're giving up an entertainer for an arms dealer.
For an arms dealer, yeah.
For an arms dealer.
It almost begs the question: what do you think about her?
Yeah, it's like that's not a hard decision for me.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, hey, Brittany, you gotta do 9 years.
Yeah,
you gotta eat that for your country. You gotta eat 9 years. You got to eat those 9 years, Britt.
But
Don't worry, when you get back home, we take care of you.
We take care of you then.
Yeah, but you got to do them 9 years. My bad, but should have put the vapes on the plane. Man, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Thank you. And this is coming from a guy who blazes. I've been wanting to have someone like you actually say that. It's like she was irresponsible bringing with her in traveling.
Listen. If I bring me a rolled up L on the plane, that's and I get busted, that's on me. I don't want nobody. I don't want nobody. Hey, no. Listen, I was the dumbass who bought it. Yeah, I deserve to get whatever penalty I get. But damn, chick, you know this is Russia. It's not like you was going to Jamaica. They probably would have just give you a slap on the wrist and they're like, "Oh man, go ahead, let me get that."
And it's not real. And it's not the first time she went there. That's what makes it even funnier. I'm like, what the heck?
I forgot. Nah, chick, you don't forget that shit. You don't forget shit like that.
I'm like, you know the rules. Come on.
You flying to Russia. Ain't no forgetting shit when you flying to Russia. You already know.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to curse people, but shit, I'm not giving up no arms dealer for Brittany Griner. Don't care. There's nothing you can tell me. I'm not giving up no arms dealer for Brittany Griner. What? For what? So she is dunked?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Y'all got that confused for me.
Yeah. So, yes, it is breaking news. Well, I'm going to have to do a breaking news thing. Brittany, and thank you, Playmaker, for putting in the chat. Because I actually saw it. I was like, oh, I want to see how legit it is, but it is. Brittany Griner has been released from Russian prison in a prison swap. So that is according to ESPN and numerous.
I can't believe they gave him up. I can't believe they gave him up.
I can't either. But yeah, I think it's now time for us to talk a little college-ish stuff. I think. Yeah, why not? Let's do that right now.
Passionate.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Unflinching.
Let's go back to losing. Parking was easier.
Unrelenting.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight.
Totally.
This one has a chance.
Dates.
That's not just a murmur, that's a full-blown fibrillation.
As he joins us every single Thursday, it is the one, the only Christopher Dietz, the man in charge of the Fit Down Sports Show. How are you, my man?
Hey, what's going on, Cole? Wise, nice to see you. Nice and healthy.
Yes.
Yes. Believe me, I'm feeling so much better. I'm still coughing and stuff like that, but it's better than Sunday where it was more fever and chills and just sleeping. So, but I just been sleeping.
Wise. I got the perfect prescription for you.
Oh, believe me, I wanted a hot toddy so bad, man.
Oh no, this is better. Well, you can have the hot toddy while you do this. While you do this, watch. I know you're a fan of the X-Men. The cartoon.
Yeah.
Watch the episode entitled Time Prisoners. Okay. Here's the plot to the episode. The X-Men go back. They go back and forth between time because a mysterious virus of some kind is turning people into mutants, and they're getting their mutant capabilities from the unknown virus. Now, mind you, this was written in 1994, before we even knew that there were viruses of unknown nature. But so if you've contracted this virus, if you start spouting claws or shooting rays out of your eyes, you let us know.
Oh, I will. Because I'm
literally that was the plot. That was the plot to the. It's a 2-part episode. That was the plot to the episode. Was people got some unknown virus, and that's how they got their mutant capabilities. I remember watching this during COVID, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, this was written 20 years before we even knew that COVID existed. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So it'll make you feel a lot better about contracting the unknown virus, the virus of unknown origin.
Yeah, this is my second bout with it. It's just, to me, it was just like real bad case of the flu, because everybody I knew was battling the flu. So
yeah. Well, before we continue, let's hit the chat real quick. A Pistol says, "Morning, y'all." Pragmatic Prime, it's good to see you again, my man. He says, "Boiler up,
Prime."
Andrew, good morning to you, sir, and congratulations also to you, sir. He says, "Aaron Judge, baby, whoa, man, I'm happy for you guys. That was the right signing, Sig Dicky says, "Somebody hit him up with the Bill Duke," meaning, you messed up, right?
Yeah,
you messed up, right?
They messed up big time.
Andrew also says, "Enjoy Arson Judge Giants." Oh, wow, that's cold. Bit of truth enjoying the show. Appreciate it, brother. Sig Diggy says, "She flew without the proper protocol, and the team of Russia didn't know she was coming." That's been my point all along right there. And someone had to brief her, and she probably either went in one ear or out the other.
Man, listen, I wouldn't have made the trade. Sorry. No exchange would have happened. It would have been Brittany. You eating them 9 years. You did some stupid shit. I'm saying you did some stupid shit, and I'm not giving up this arms dealer for you.
Yeah,
and I don't care. I don't care what your wife says. I don't care what your family say. It don't matter. You violated the law. So,
and that, yeah.
And now I, as president, gotta bite the bullet and free a Russian arms dealer to get you back home, because people over here crying because they want to see what? What are you gonna do? You gonna come dunk a ball?
Dunk a ball and then blaze up some more.
I don't care. I don't watch the WNBA anyway. I wasn't a fan.
Oh wow!
If I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch the WNBA. Listen, as much as I've tried to watch my Liberty play, I barely watch NBA games.
I'm surprised, knowing since you back all your New York teams.
No, listen, I root for the Liberty. Don't get it twisted. But
I get what you mean. You don't really follow it. Like I
don't watch basketball. I don't really watch regular basketball unless like it's a game that I really want to see.
Yeah. But yes, Ryan, in exchange for an arms dealer, Brittany Griner's coming home. Andrew says, "Oh wow, she was actually free." Dang. Yeah. Bit of truth. I love this. Biden looked off into an imaginary camera.
Yeah, he's like,
probably was ashamed. Oh Lord. APs will give you props, Deet, saying Thor.
Absolutely.
Vic, I love this, Vic. This goes to a segment that I created on my own show. He says, "I bet you when she gets back, she'll be just as tone dead."
Man, I know I wouldn't have made a trade. That's all I know.
Yeah, I agree. Six says, "Victor Bout is a Ukrainian arms dealer, actually. He's nicknamed the Death Dealer. Nicolas Cage starred in a movie about him based on Bout." Ugh. Morning to you, D, says Andrew says. Diari, pleasure to meet your acquaintance, my man. And Snowman sends his regards, says hello to you. I'm glad that you're here, my man. I hope you enjoy what we're about to bring forth. Victor Law says good morning to you, Deeds. 6 says good morning to you, Andrew. Bitter Truth says Jamaica would have given her a customary 5-pound bag.
Bro, as soon as I landed, it was trying to hit me up with something.
Not as soon as you touched down in Jamaica.
Bro, as soon as I touched down and got out the plane and was about to put my bag on the van, the dude putting the bag on in the van was like, "Yo, you need some smoke?" I guess he smelt it on me, but
I thought they just hand it out down there, like when you land in Hawaii and they give you lays and stuff. I thought Jamaica
it was damn well like
hand you a bag.
Bro, it was damn well like that.
Similar, huh? Oh wow.
But it's everything. I mean, they ain't gonna fall. It's not free.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not the Jamaican shit.
I'm sure it's not free. Ryan says, basically talking about what Deet said to begin his segment. He says they did the same thing in Dragon Ball Z when Trunks traveled back in time to save Goku from a mysterious heart virus. Andrew says, morning in Silk and Diari. He says the same thing to you, Andrew. Six says, Wise, I don't blame you. WNBA doesn't appeal to everybody. No, why should they? They shouldn't appeal to everybody. And sometimes it doesn't appeal to me, so I totally understand that. Vic says, you have a league of players that airball layups. How do you watch that? Again,
no, but it's the women's game. It's more fundamental.
Whatever.
Six says morning to Diari and morning to Deeds.
No, Shaq made a point. I thought Shaq made a great point. Because they play at the men's level as far as the hoop size, right?
Yeah. It's the same size.
Shaq said they should bring it down a little. I agree with that.
I agree with it too, but
the dunk would save it. Listen, some of these girls will be able to dunk.
They would that would never fly.
I know it won't fly.
I think the women's game considers that an insult if they were to lower the basket. But I know the women's game would get more views if the goals were lowered because people love to watch dunks. They just do.
They do. They just do.
Yeah.
They just do.
Mm-hmm.
They should consider it.
They should consider
why,
it. Seriously.
It's like why do we? I love women, but not everything has to be equal.
Well, no, equals, yes. The same, no.
Okay, yes. All right. That's what I'm saying. The same, no. Like the hoops don't need to be. These a bunch of these dudes are like freaks, and the way they dunk and all this. I get it, women. I know y'all want to be exciting in fundamentals. Yes, y'all got some great fundamentals,
and that's great.
I want to see somebody get dunked on once in a while.
Well, it's funny because they say that about everything. Women's basketball has to be the same. Yet women's college basketball is 4 quarters, and men's college basketball is 2 halves.
2 halves.
So, you're not the same anyway.
The same there, right?
And the reason they did that was Gino Auriemma wanted college basketball wanted women's basketball to be more attuned to the international game.
Because a lot of them play international.
A lot of them play international. Plays the international game. Yeah. One of them being Brittany Griner.
That's why Gino is one of the smartest guys.
Oh, he's one of the smartest. Yeah, he's one of the smartest guys in women's basketball history.
I love Gino.
Yeah. One of the smartest guys in women's basketball history. It's not even a question, and that's almost a slight to him to say one of.
Well, yeah. I mean, just to put it in perspective, he won when we did our first summer of greatness. Gino Auriemma won greatest coach of all time.
See, there you go.
He won the tournament. So
see, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, and there's I can't even argue. I can't argue it as a representative, as a resident of Connecticut.
You live in the state.
If I tried to argue that, I'd get thrown out of the state.
Yeah, but you live in the state, so yeah.
Exactly.
I wouldn't argue with that either. And I don't live in Connecticut. Victor says, how is it fundamental when you airball layups? And he goes on to say, and I used to be a big fan of the WNBA. I love the Chicago Sky, but the level of play is not the same. And Darius says, good morning to you, Sick. Yeah, the level of play, yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired.
So that's why it kills me when they were like, "Oh, they need equal pay." No, you don't generate the same kind of money.
Yeah,
you don't.
That's the issue.
How dare you even consider thinking about you want to get paid NBA players money when you don't generate that kind of revenue?
And plus, you lean a little bit on the NBA's revenue to stay afloat.
Yes.
So there's that, but people don't mention it. But yeah. There's that as well.
Why? You're a Knicks fan. Yes. Knicks ticket, courtside Knicks ticket is
almost thousands.
Is probably is a grand or more.
It's in the thousands. Yes.
Yeah. It's more than a grand. Liberty courtside ticket is probably about.
But they don't even play in the Garden anymore. They're no longer owned by the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets own them, so they play in Brooklyn.
What I'm saying is to go to a game at Madison Square Garden and sit sidelines and watch the Knicks is almost a grand. You have to drop a grand to get a seat.
Listen, even when the Knicks were the bottom of the barrel, their tickets were in the thousands. There's courtside tickets were in the thousands.
And they want equal pay. Guess what? You're not getting a grand for any seat in your building.
No.
So,
it's
that simple. It's that simple.
No. Yeah. Look. When you actually have to basically beg for advertising dollars to actually say, well, this is a viable product, you can't really say, well, yeah, we compare this to the NBA, and then have the audacity to say, well, Sue Bird only makes this much in her career, and a guy I won't mention who has the same amount of rings, he has made this possibly in maybe a month. I'm sorry.
He also generates a lot of dollars.
I was just about to go there. Do we talk about Sue Bird like that? No. I mean, we have talked about Brittany Griner more than anybody else, but does she even rate?
Yeah,
no.
We talk about Brittany Griner more than Candace Parker, who's better than 2 times better than everyone else in the league.
But the only reason we're talking about Brittany Griner is because she's an idiot and she's not locked.
You never hear anyone talk about Candace. Never hear anyone talk about Candace.
No. And people probably would be surprised when you do talk about it. Like, oh yeah, she's a great analyst. Oh, she plays. They probably don't even know she's a basketball player. That's the messed up part. That is the messed up part. Darius says Brittany about to go on her pity party tour / bag collection, followed by her second divorce. And it might happen. Who knows? I hope she doesn't get divorced though, because that would suck for her. Vicky says, and I've watched a lot of women's college basketball. You've got some killers. So why do these players forget how to play when they get to the league? I don't think it's they forget how to play when they get to the league. It's similar to college basketball in the pros in the men's game. It's they feel as though they can rock how they rock it and not deal with the fundamentals as much. And they want to go and rely more on their athleticism than they do their fundamentals. And I think in the women's game, it translates to they're fundamentally sound in the college game because you got guys like Ariema who will drill that into you. And then when you get to the pros or the WNBA, unless you actually go in the international game, that's not so stressed, and you can see it in the play.
But it's also if you watch a lot of women, if you watch women's college basketball, and I mean,
but I'd rather watch women's college game. I would honestly rather watch a women's college game than a WNBA.
But when UConn played Notre Dame on Sunday. Mm-hmm. It was worth watching. But when UConn plays and pick any Big East school, or I'll just say one, when they play a team like Seton Hall or St. John's or one of the lower teams from the Big East, when they play one of those teams and it's 30-5 after the first quarter, the level of competition is like 1 through 10 is like solid. It's solid competition. Once you get out of that, I mean, I've seen games where UConn has played like the number 20 school in the country and they beat them by 45.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
like that's what you're getting. So when you get to the WNBA, you've got the level of competition is better, and that's why you don't see. That's to answer Victor's question of why it looks like they forget. It's because they're not playing against they're not playing against Mary Sue University. Like they're playing actually comparable talent. So they all look the same.
I'm not laughing.
Speaking of embarrassing talent, let's get to college football.
Well, before we do, hold on a second. Darius says, I don't know when the last time I watched the MWA commercial. Was it the 90s? You might have been. I mean, that was the hardest they pushed the product, including now.
Oh, watch ESPN. They play about 3 of them They play about 3 WNBA commercials every segment. They push it. They're trying to push it, and they're one of the reasons why ESPN is failing badly.
Miserably. Yeah. Victor says, let's not forget, Brittany Griner was the one that called Boogie Cousins a little man. Yeah. All right, Ryan. This segment of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson is brought to you by Pity Party Tours. When you need to do damage control and make yourself a martyr, trust in Pity Party Tours. Yeah, I agree. That is kind of funny. All right. I agree with you, Deeds. Let us transition. College football now has their 4 teams: Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Ohio State. Do you think the committee got it right? Do you think they got it wrong? How do you feel? What is your take?
Here's what happened. They got it right, but they also got it wrong. And the reason I say that is I've been saying this all season, and I've been saying it ever since the playoff existed, and especially with expansion coming up. Mm-hmm. They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and look, you're not going to get an argument. I mean, I'm not going to argue and say and jump on my soapbox and say USC should be in. What USC did to themselves is they embarrassed themselves. If they had just lost the game, lost to Utah, that would have been, if it was similar to the game they played at Utah, where it, came down to a 2-point conversion or came down to the final play or overtime like TCU. If it had come down to that, USC probably stays in. But the problem with USC is they got embarrassed.
They got spanked.
Yeah, especially that fourth quarter, they got thrashed. I mean, they got physically decimated and dissected and dominated.
But I'm going to talk about this more. I'm going to talk about this more on Fit Down Sports Show tonight. But I guess
Caleb Williams should not paint.
Everybody remembers when USC fired Lane. When USC fired Lane Kiffin, they were at I believe Oregon State at the time, and they just left him on the tarmac. They should have done the same thing to Alex Grinch. What Alex Grinch, the defensive coordinator for USC, how he continues to fail upwards in college football, I have no idea. But that was a disgrace. That defense was absolute disgrace. And the play that did it for me was when the tight end caught the ball at the 35-yard line and ran through 3 USC tacklers. That was them giving. That was a team giving up. At some point, and look, I'm not going to blame the kids for that. That's on the coaches. That's on them not getting those kids to say, you have to play with tackling is about effort. And there was no effort given. There was no effort given.
A huge lack of effort, yes.
And again, I mean, I'm gonna chronicle Alex Grinch's career. I have no idea how he's still the defensive coordinator at USC. It is a disgrace that they put that effort forward. It was awful.
Well, Playmaker says,
and that's why USC's not.
Yeah, Yeah. Playmaker says, and I think he echoes some of that sentiment. He says USC lost 2 games, both to Utah. Ohio State lost once, only to Michigan. USC had no room for error in the Pac-12 championship. Yeah, but I do agree with Dietz from the standpoint of if it was another 43-42 Utah victory in the Pac-12 championship, the committee probably would say, okay, 2-loss team that made it to a championship game versus a 1-loss team that didn't even make it to the championship game and lost to one who's going to be in the playoff at home by more than 3 touchdowns. I think they would have leaned toward USC in that regard. But
and to Playmaker's point, I understand that. I understand that. You rewarded Ohio State for not playing a game.
And I knew that was going to happen.
They didn't have to play.
Yeah.
And
I knew that was,
and they got in. And it was going to happen. Someone was going to get rewarded. Someone was going to get rewarded. It was either going to be them or Alabama, and so.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I was like, man,
but
if TCU or USC slips, one of them is going to make it. I knew it.
It goes to the point of these conference championship games are useless. They're stupid. They shouldn't be played.
Right. Yeah. And you
saw State got to sit at home. They got to get healthy and they got to do whatever. And if you had gone back, if we had not had championship weekend, USC's in the playoff.
He's in there. Here's the funny part about that. So we played these games. Georgia did move in its spot. Michigan didn't move in their spot, and TCU did move in theirs. Of course, Michigan and Georgia had route victories. TCU lost in OT. And you can shoot this argument down 2 different ways. You had 3 who played championship games. Didn't matter how they did. They still kept their ranking in advanced. And then the 4th seed is occupied by a team that didn't even make it to the championship. So yeah, what point is it for us to have championship weekend games, conference championship games? What is the point? What is the use?
There is no point. It's all about
there's no point.
Dollars. There's no point to them.
And then I want to say, are the dollars that beneficial that you want to stage these games? You know,
to the networks, yes.
I mean, not to the networks, yes. I mean, to the teams.
To the Big Ten, to the Big Ten, that they got that $1 billion contract. Which, to go back to your whip around segment of the people who are mad at UCLA for wanting to join the Big Ten, guys, there's a $1 billion television contract. The Pac-12's not getting a $1 billion contract from Fox. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only two conferences getting that love.
I don't care how many Deion Sanders. I don't care how many Deion Sanderses you bring in to your conference. You're not getting a $1 billion television contract like the Big Ten did.
Well, at least for now. But you never know; they may get it.
And the chunk they get from that alone can pay for all the athletes to travel. So I don't want to hear about this. Oh, athletes can't afford it. No, UCLA can afford. They can afford to get their athletes to where they need to get to.
That ridiculousness was more like trying to throw something on the wall, see what type of gripe they can levy on this moves can stick. And none of them can, because like it's ridiculous. You put forth this gripe, and none of it can happen because the sport itself makes so much money that if they even wanted to, they could help out UCLA if they say, "Yeah, we're gonna go for the Pac-12, the Big Ten, but we can't afford it." I'm sure the Big Ten itself could say, like you said, "Oh, we'll take care of you. Get out of here." Yeah. That's not even a question. Not even a question. It's just I found it funny, and that's why I led off with it.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Playmaker says
yeah.
Oh yeah. Playmaker says Ohio State. Playmaker says UC Ohio State is being rewarded. I see it as USC had the opportunity but screwed it up, and there was no other team to really consider. Tennessee lost twice. I don't think it's the lost twice part. It's the getting blasted
by South Carolina
part. You lose 63-20, 63-38. That is going to turn a lot of people off because the other loss was to Georgia on the road. So it's like, okay, yeah, you lost the number one team, and you actually looked okay in that game. Not in Columbia.
No.
And he also says Bama was done by LSU by getting smashed by Texas A&M before getting smashed by Georgia. There was no other teams to consider but Ohio State. True.
But that's only if you look. That's only if you look at losses. That's only if you look at losses.
I was going to say true.
If you look at wins, USC still has more quality wins than Ohio State does.
Yeah, I was going to say that's all true, but it was funny. I saw it in many different media outlets how it was all laid out for a 2-loss Alabama team could make the playoffs if all these things happen. And the things that had to happen were TCU loses a game, Clemson loses a game. I'm trying to think. Let's see, USC loses a game. And all of those scenarios happen along with Alabama dog walking Auburn. All of those things happened, yet they still did not make it. So there you go. And yeah, I can understand what you're saying, Playmaker, from that second point. Yeah, you're not talking about a 2-loss LSU team. You're talking about a 3-loss LSU team going into the championship round, and then they get their 4th loss by getting beat 50-30 to Georgia. So yeah, I get that. I get your point there, Playmaker. But many media outlets laid it all out for Alabama. All these things has to happen for Alabama to get in. All those things happened, and Alabama still didn't get in, which actually serves them right. And you really want me to be truthful.
Well, because everybody was looking at if TCU and I'll go to the picture on your thing. If Max Duggan doesn't go absolutely super max on that final drive, I think Alabama would have gotten in if not for Max Duggan going absolutely max. There's nothing. He won the Heisman Trophy on Saturday. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody said, "Oh, but they lost." Dude, on that final drive alone, he goes third and 17. He scrambles for 18 yards first down. 3rd and 14. He scrambles for 15 yards first down. Next play, he runs it 40 yards inside the 10-yard line, runs in a touchdown 2 plays later, and literally his team had to carry him off the field. He was that gassed where he couldn't even walk off the field. They had to carry him off the field. And then his Heisman moment is they're sitting there talking about Kirk Herbstreit, sitting there going, get this kid some oxygen, get him this, get him that. He's sitting on the bench, and Holly Rowe goes, yeah, Max Duggan refused to get oxygen. He refused the artificial oxygen. He said, just everybody get away from me and give me time to recover. That's what a champion does. That Max Duggan won the Heisman on that drive alone.
Yeah. And I think the Heisman.
And it sucks because he won it by default. I mean, he's going to win it by default because Blake Corum got hurt. I mean, Blake Corum was the Heisman Trophy winner, but when you miss the final 2 games of the season, you know that kind of shoots you in the foot right there.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that. I was like, you pretty much had the one runaway winner in Blake Corum, but of course he had to miss time with his knee injury. Didn't play at Ohio State. Didn't play at Ohio State. Didn't play in the championship game, obviously. But yeah, it was like a revolving door of who can we consider? Hooker from Tennessee, nope. Stroud from Ohio State, nope. It was like a revolving door of who can we consider? And yeah, I agree with you.
And again, you have to go back to what the Heisman Trophy is. And a lot of people don't know what it means. The Heisman Trophy is not the best player in college football. It's not the most valuable player in college football. It's the most outstanding college football player. It's the guy who had the most outstanding season. Well, is there anyone who stands out more than TCU right now? Because everybody else, Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio State, we all said, well, they all have a shot. There's not a person alive, and I don't know, maybe somebody down in Waco, maybe somebody down in Fort Worth said it at the beginning of the year, but nobody nationally was saying TCU has a shot.
No, because you were correct. The 3 of the 4 teams that are in was pretty much figured to be in of the 5 or 6 that they thought would finish the year being in contention for the playoff spot, which would be playoff, which would be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State. The other 3 that I can mention would be Alabama, Clemson, and Notre Dame. I mean, people would talk about those 6 schools. 3 of them made it through, and Clemson had to botch their second loss, and we probably still would be talking about Clemson being in the mix. So, yeah, no one was mentioning TCU. Nobody. In fact, people were thinking Oklahoma was going to win the Big 12 again. Of course, that.
And if you go back, I mean, when they announced this, when you look at the story of Max Duggan, Max Duggan screams college football. His whole entire story. 2 years ago, this guy had a cancerous tumor removed from his brain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was a story of not, hey, this guy might be able to play football. They didn't think he'd be able to go back to TCU. And he has this surgery, has it done, and is not only back at TCU, but he's back playing college football and playing the way he did. His story tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why the only reason Max Duggan would not win the award is if people turn their ballots in early.
That would be interesting.
Which happens all the time. There's there's so many voters for the Heisman that. Mm-hmm. But if you turn your ballot in and he's not on it, I don't know what season you were watching.
I don't know if they could have turned their ballots this year early, considering, like you said, the guy that would be the runaway winner, literally and figuratively.
Well, the runaway the runaway guy going into it was Caleb Williams before Friday night. Before Friday night, Caleb Williams was being crowned already. Oh, they kept mentioning it. Oh, he's the Heisman front runner. And I was like, wait, Blake Corum does exist.
Yeah.
I was like, because before that, it was CJ Stroud, and then Michigan beat CJ Stroud. And then it's Caleb Williams led his team to the Pac-12 title game. And then he has the game that he had in the Pac-12 title game. And then it's all right. So it's pretty much now it's like, all right, who's left?
Yeah. And having him paint F Utah on his fingernails, that isn't Heisman worthy either, if you really want to know. But yeah, it seemed like it was a revolving door of, all right, this kid deserves it. No, this kid deserves it. No, this kid deserves it. No, yeah.
No, it was a revolving door of which quarterback can we give it to? Which quarterback can we give it to? Oh wait, a running back is destroying the league right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they just didn't want to acknowledge they didn't want to acknowledge a running back.
Yeah, because to your point, they were talking about the quarterback from Tennessee, Hooker. They were talking about him after the win at home against Alabama, that he was the front runner because of that. And I'm thinking, we're only in October. I'm not sure we can actually say this guy is the guy yet. Let the next 6 weeks play out.
And even that was ridiculous. Even that was ridiculous because you're in Tennessee. I mean, even that was ridiculous. Jalen Hyatt had 6 catches for 5 touchdowns in that game.
He had 5 touchdowns in that game. Yeah.
He had 5 touchdowns in that game, and they're talking about Hendon Hooker, and I was like, "What about Jalen Hyatt? He clearly was the better player."
Mm-hmm. But wide receivers in that type of regard, they rarely get that type of love. It's like, okay, yeah, he had that many catches for touchdowns. Yeah, who threw the ball to him? But yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
All right. If the committee decided to punish TCU, which I thought they would, but I'm glad they didn't, and they would have put Alabama in its stead, do you think that it would have been controversial? Is not really it, but a turnoff if we would have seen 2 Big Ten teams and 2 SEC teams play in the college football playoff?
No, I don't think it would be a turn. I don't think it would have been a turnoff. It would have just bolstered my. I said it at the beginning of the year. I didn't even call it the college football playoff. I called it the SEC Big Ten Invitational.
I still feel
look at this.
I still feel this that way. I mean, last year we had 2 SEC teams. This year we had 2 Big Ten teams. Yeah.
Well, it would have been what would have been really interesting is where would they have put Alabama in that situation? Because I would think the committee would have done one of 2 things. They would have either made Michigan the number 1 seed.
I think that's what it would have done.
Or they would have made Alabama the 3 seed.
I couldn't see them doing that. I couldn't see them making Alabama the 3 seed.
But they would have done that just so they don't get so each game's not a rematch. Right. They would have configured it some way to make it so that it was Georgia versus Ohio State and Michigan versus
Alabama. Yeah. And I really believe it would have been Michigan and Georgia would have swapped. No matter what, they would have swapped.
Yeah, I think that would have been the easier, because that would have been the easier sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they could have said, "Oh well, Michigan has the better victory," and
yeah,
that's why they would have done it. But everybody who's paid attention would have noticed it right away and called them out on it and said, "We know what you did. We know what you did here."
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it'd be a screw it situation.
Because I don't think there's any way they would have gone for 2. They can understand 1 rematch. I don't think you can understand 2. You can't do 2.
I mean, because I was about to say, if they were to do away with that, then they would have to explain, well, we're having a more glorified conference championship in the CFP.
We're having 2 SEC teams play each other and 2 Big Ten teams play. We're gonna have them both play each other at the same. It would have made no sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, one of those matchups that'd be playing for the second time in a little more than a month. So yeah, yeah. I don't think that would have happened. But yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to think what another question I wanted to ask. All right. So now it's going to be 12 teams eventually for this college football playoff. Do you think they're going to stick with 12 for a good while, or do you think they're going to even quickly expand it further to like 16 or 24?
I was just reading an article. I don't think logistically they can expand it beyond. I don't think logistically they can expand it beyond 12. And people can point to the FCS and say how many teams they have, but the article I was reading and the guy I was reading, I trust him on a lot of college football stuff. And what he pointed out is something. When you look at the FCS playoff, which is what people usually look at when they say, well, look, the FCS does it. The FCS plays 5 extra games on top of their schedule.
Yeah.
It's a war of attrition. It's basically, when you get down to the final 4 of the FCS, it's basically who's healthy, who's still got horses left, and that would be the disaster of college football, because you see it now. You see it so much more now with guys don't even want to play bowl games because they're going to get hurt.
Right.
You think guys want to risk play? You think guys want to play 3 or 4? You think guys want to play 4 or 5 extra games on top of a 12-game regular season? No. You're asking college kids to play 17 games?
Well, we're seeing it in the pros.
You don't even ask NFL players to play 17.
Yeah. I mean, and they really didn't want to play 17, but the Shia forced them into it. So, yeah. So, to your point. Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
So I don't think that logistically, I don't think they can go past 12, and they're going to get so much pushback on these when they expand this playoff. They're going to get so much pushback that, because people are going to realize about for years is, instead of arguing over 3, 4, and 5, we're going to be arguing about 10, 11, and 12, and who's in, who's out, and you're going to get so much if they don't change the way that this is. If they don't change the criteria for getting in and how teams are selected, if they don't change that process, you're going to have teams that didn't. You're going to have teams like Ohio State. You're going to have more teams that didn't even play. You're going to have teams that lost in the final week that are getting in. That's ridiculous. You're basically saying, yeah, we don't care about the regular season. We're just going to pick 12 teams at the end. So who cares? I mean, who cares if they finish second in their conference? Who cares? And the other thing the article brought up is, and go back and look at the FCS titles. There's a reason why the same teams win and the same teams are in the Final Four every single FCS. There's a reason why that happens. It's because, A, it's a war of attrition and those teams are getting the better players and they have better benches. So it's really just an act of futility when you look at an expanded playoff. So yeah, I don't see them expanding past 12. Now, if somebody can put forth a proper slate to actually do that, I think you would have to do it to do more than 12. You would have to shorten the regular season, because somebody will have to correct me on this if I'm right. I believe the FCS only plays 10-game regular seasons. So they end up playing. So you're going to shorten the regular season to promote whatever this is. So whatever it is they're going to do. And that to me is the disaster of college football. What makes college football great is that the regular season, it's the most important regular season in all of sports. If you keep expanding this beyond what we need it to be, all you're doing is watering down the regular season. And you're basically going to make college football into college basketball, which college basketball has started and it's opened up. And I know, we've talked about, they talked about it yesterday about the Houston Cougars being number one. Does anyone care that the Houston Cougars are number one right now? Because come March, no one's going to care. No one cares until you get into March. It's the only time people care about college basketball.
So I see it's the D10 Wise show right now.
Oh, nice.
What's going on?
But yeah, well, Cole was just asking me about expanding the expanding college football playoff, and it's like I said, watering down the regular season, that it destroys everything that college football is. And I don't want to see college football become college basketball, because I used to watch college basketball. I grew up in the Big East with the Big East and the real Big East when it was Pitt, UConn, St. John's,
Syracuse,
Georgetown, Syracuse, the real Big East, not Cincinnati, Virginia Tech, and all the when they made it the conglomeration that it was. But I used to watch college basketball regular season was awesome. And now it's basically just, all right, a couple weeks in at the end of February and then get ready for March. That's basically all you need to watch for college basketball.
Yeah. You don't really have to watch the regular season. You watch March Madness.
I mean, unless you're a diehard or unless it's Duke, North Carolina at Cameron Indoor, like those are the only things worth watching.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that happen to college football. It would destroy college football.
It would. It's sad with the way money controls everything. But even with the whole situation with even with this whole situation with Dion and how they're making him look bad because he's leaving Jackson State. Well, this is a man who wants to further his career. He can do more in a Power 5 conference to help players out as well, because he did a great job at Jackson State. I'm saying he did what he was supposed to do there. He helped build. In those 3 years that he was there, he helped build and get them that big contract from ESPN. But nobody's talking about that. They're talking about him going to Colorado. It's ridiculous.
No, Dion to Colorado. That's what happens. That's what coaches do. Okay, mm-hmm. Coaches go from the FCS level. They go to usually it's not Colorado. Usually they go to some mid-level school, and then they go to a Power 5, and then eventually they get a shot at the NFL, or
I don't think he wants the
NFL. Then they come back to college. That's usually the road that these coaches take. And
I think he doesn't want the NFL. I think he prefers college because he's here to help. Deion isn't doing it for the money. Let's get that straight. He's actually here to help mold young men into functional. I can't even say it correctly. Functional human beings. Listen, he's doing some great things, and
he's done great things, but he's done all that he can. He's done all that he can do. There's not much more to do. There's not much more that he can do, especially at especially at Jackson State. And this is the thing that I've been saying. I've been saying all year is, the thing about these, the thing about the HBCUs is, look, I know you love playing in the Celebration Bowl. I know you love pumping the Celebration Bowl up. But if Deion's never going to win a championship at Jackson State because they're not allowed to play. Their conference won't allow them to play in the FCS playoffs because they have to go to the Celebration Bowl. Well, if that's all you're going to do, then why would he want to stay? Why would he want to stay there? Why would he want to stay there when they've just made the Celebration Bowl last year? They made it again this year. The only thing left for him to do is win the Celebration Bowl. And
which it looks like he might do this year.
Well, it looked like he might do it last year too, and we saw what happened with South Carolina. And that's the thing that I question when I question about this move. The move from Deion is we've seen Deion dominate at a level where his guys are better than they're just better than the opponents across the field from him. However, when the teams were even, South Carolina State mopped the floor with them, and they had nothing. Jackson State did not make a single adjustment, did not do anything to change their game. They just kept going. So that's what needs. Deion is going to find that out real quick. That coaching against guys at the level he was at, yeah, well, guess what? Next year, you got to coach against Lincoln Riley. And Coach Prime, how are you going to scheme your defense to stop Lincoln Riley's offense?
Well, he just signed Kelly as his defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and Deion is good at that. Deion is good at bringing other guys in. I mean, he did that down there. He brought Brewster in to do the recruiting. He had offensive coordinators at Jackson State. He had other high level coaches on his staff. So I imagine he'll be doing that. But still, it still comes down to it. What I said on the lunch crew on Monday, it comes down to expectations. If your expectation is, all right, Deion's going to come to Colorado and lead us to national champions, like you need to pump the brakes a little bit. They brought Deion there to bring the program back to being relevant.
He's gonna get some players to come there that they wouldn't have gotten before.
And we'll have to see. But again, at that level, bringing in a 5-star recruit. I mean, how many times do we see 5-star recruits come in to Penn State, to Ohio State? How many times do we see those guys, the 5-star guys, not work out? How many times do we see a 2-star recruit come in and just take the league away by storm? Like it happens because guys get coached up and guys end up playing well. So it's going to be a learning process. Now the hurdle for Deion is not that high. 1-11 is not that hard to improve from.
No.
So I mean, you can't do worse right now. You're gonna be better than 1-11, but the question is, for me, it's expectation of what do you expect Deion to be, and I don't think they expect him to be in bowl. I expect him to be in bowl in contention for a bowl in 2 to 3 years, and then we'll start looking at whether or not they can be, whether Colorado's a viable option for a Pac-12 championship and maybe a spot at a playoff. That's 5 or 6 years down the road. Most coaches don't get 5 or 6 years. Ask Scott Frost if he gets 5 or 6 years.
Oh yeah, but Scott Frost. First of all, you're coming to your alma mater with high expectations, especially after leading UCF to the standards that he led them to. So you're coming in with this expectation that you're going to turn it around instantly, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, but again, he got 3 years. So the extra, and it's because the expectation was, Scott Frost is going to bring Nebraska back to being, he's going to bring us back to being contention. No, you weren't Nebraska. You have to understand what you are right now.
Yeah, you're not one of those powerhouse. You're not the powerhouse from the 90s. You're not the Tommy Frazier. You're not the Tommy Frazier, Nebraska.
No, you're not Tommy Frazier. You're not Ahmad Green. You don't have Trev Alberts. I know you're the defense. I know you're the AD there, but you're not. You don't have a Trev Alberts on the defensive line right now.
No.
You don't have those.
You're not getting those.
Those guys don't exist right now.
You're not getting those studs on that team. No, you're not attracting those players.
And that'll be another interesting hurdle. I mean, Colorado is not I don't think a lot of places are a lot of primetime players are looking to go, you know what? I want to spend, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to spend 8 months out of the year in Boulder, Colorado. I mean, when I can go to LA and hang out at USC and hang out at UCLA and I can hang out, I can go down to Miami, I can go down to Texas, I can go to Alabama where they treat their players like kings. I mean, Colorado's a professional sports town. It's not a college sports town. It never has been.
No, it wasn't. But we see what they're bringing in Deion so he can change the culture, get them back on their winning ways, and it draws the spotlight on them. See, Deion commands that attention, so he gives you that attention. He's going to get you some 5-star recruits. He will. And if he turns it around and they start winning and they win a couple of bowls and then down the line they get into the playoffs, then what? Then does he? For me, I think he's waiting for the FSU's job. Personally,
well, he's going to be waiting a long time for that job. Because Mike Norvell has Florida State going in the right direction.
Yes, he does.
And Mike Norvell is, if you look at his track record at Memphis, and now it's carrying over to Florida State. You look at that track record. Mike Norvell was a great hire by them, and anybody who says, they should have, I saw a lot of this. Florida State should have brought Deion in a couple of years ago. Florida State made the right hire. They brought in a guy who's done it at another university, a guy who is going to do things the right way and is getting Florida State back into where they are, back into where they should be recruiting, back into what they need to do. But I don't understand about this Deion, the scrutiny from Deion, like. Deion,
it's funny who he's getting it from. It's who he's getting it from.
He's getting it from people that Jackson State used Deion to promote their school, but Deion can't use it to promote his own career. I mean, this is absolutely insane.
It's not even Jackson State. It's listen. The fact that this man is leaving, he's already done in the 3 years he's been there. He's already done more for the league, not just the team, the school, the league. First of all, he at Jackson State, they improved the facilities. Number one, right? So he got that changed. They got that big deal. This year, you've seen the most HBCU college games on ESPN that you've ever seen ever before, right? So he's gotten you that recognition. What more else do you want from the man? He's got you on the. He's for the first time in how many years? For this only the second time. ESPN Game Day went to a HBCU college campus for only the second time.
But see, now you bring it into an interesting point, and you bring this discussion to an interesting point because now we get to see what that really was. Was that and what I'm talking about is I'm talking about ESPN. They played all these HBCU. Was it because of Deion, or was it because ESPN believes in the HBC in the HBCUs? That's what we're gonna find. We're gonna find that out, and I have my doubts because I think they're gonna. I think the networks are gonna. I think they're gonna bail. I think they're gonna bail hard because that's what networks do. They're gonna go, oh well, they don't have Deion anymore, so we're gonna bail on We're gonna bail on this, and it would be a shame. It would be a shame for them to do it.
Yeah.
But we need, like, everybody needs to be aware of. Look at all the attention Deion brought to the HBCUs. Now let's see if it sticks, because time and time again you see this happen. Where we're gonna go. How many North Dakota State games did you see? We saw over a 4-year span. They were Game Day was going to North Dakota State, and they were. I haven't seen them talking about North Dakota State in 2 years. So again, they went there when it was popular, and then once it became unpopular, they bailed out. And that's what they do. That's what these networks do. So now we need to hold their feet to the fire. Like, were you there just for Deion, or were you there because you believe in the kids and you believe in the programs?
Well, that's something we're gonna have to find out. Absolutely.
So I want.
Boy.
I had already earlier today. I had thanked Jeffrey Cohen, for the gift that was signing Justin Verlander.
Well, they had the Mets had to.
Losing DeGrom was big.
I mean, the Mets didn't lose DeGrom. DeGrom said, "I don't want to play here anymore." Now, why he decided he didn't? I mean, it's not like the Mets. That was the funny thing. People were like, "How did the Mets allow DeGrom to walk away?" It's not like the Mets were like lowballing his offer. They were like, "DeGrom, what do you want?" And he was like, "Well, I just don't want to play here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in New York anymore. I don't want to be in the middle of whatever." And it's weird to see, like, some of his comments. You could take them as, well, he just didn't want to be part of, Yankee. He didn't want to be part of a split town. Where does he go? The Texas Rangers, where, guess what? Texas Rangers are overshadowed by the Houston Astros. So you went to the same situation, just a different state.
And with that case, in that case, you didn't even go to the right Texas team. You went to the Rangers, who, yes, they spent all this money last year. For what? Not to have a really good year.
I mean, I'll tell you why he went. I'll tell you why he went there. And he went there because it doesn't matter what he does. He went there because there's no pressure. There's no pressure. I mean, what pressure is on the Texas Rangers to win? There's
And
no
I just
pressure on
found
the
out
Texas Rangers
Bruce
to win.
is Bruce Bochy their manager now?
I believe so.
Yes. So I just found that out yesterday. That to me was shocking. I didn't know they had hired Bruce Bochy to be their manager.
And I mean, that's what DeGrom went there to be. Look, he's going to be the man. He's going to be the man. He's going to go there. He's going to do DeGrom things. He's going to give up, 0 point. He's going to have a 0 point something ERA and still lose 5 games with the Texas Rangers. The Rangers have they have less offense than the Mets do. But, more power to him. And DeGrom, he made his choice. But again, people are making it like, oh, the Mets didn't do enough to keep him. Like the Mets said, what do you want? And he just didn't want to play there. The Mets they can't change that. The Mets can't change where they play. So good, good on him. And then we get Justin Verlander. And I mean, the Mets are building a great 2005 staff.
2005
Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander as their 2 starting pitchers. Like this isn't 2015. Like what are we doing here?
Listen, they're trying to win now.
Well, they better win now because these guys aren't going to have arms left.
No, not that much.
And especially in what the Mets do. The Mets need a bullpen. That's what the Mets need badly.
Oh, really bad.
Badly, they need
Diaz. They need somebody in between Edwin Diaz and the rest of the staff.
Yeah, you can't be relying on Verlander and Scherzer to go 7 every night. You got to get somebody for you got to get somebody for the 6th inning.
Yeah, for those innings, yeah.
6th, 7th, and then hopefully you get to Edwin Diaz.
Listen, the Astros showed you what a really good bullpen can do for you.
So, yeah. But your boy Aaron Judge decided to stay.
Cause it's okay. As good as I get it, San Francisco is your home team. Yeah, blah. But do you get that same legacy? Do you get to see if you bring it? What's the difference between you bringing a championship to San Francisco and bringing a championship to New York?
There's a huge difference.
Exactly.
Nobody cares that I mean the only reason people cared about the last championship that San Francisco won is because there was an earthquake in the middle of it.
So
that's all people talk about. They won a World Series and people talk about the earthquake.
So for me, it's if you bring a championship to New York, you are the king. You are the king of the world right now. You get all the advertisement. You get all this. You bring the first title to New York since 2009. It's so much, and I think being in the face of baseball, San Fran is not the place to be if you're going to be the face of baseball.
No, it's definitely not. And you know what else? You know what else I think went into his decision? And Aaron Judge is a young guy, right?
He's 30 years old. Yeah,
he's 30 years old. So you're going to tell a guy who's in the prime of his career, and the San Francisco Giants were saying, "You know what? We're going to stick you at first base." Aaron Judge was like, "No. I've been playing outfield my whole life. I still have a rocket cannon arm. Why are you even thinking about sticking me at first base?" Well, because the Giants outfield is already set. And they just signed Yastrzemski to a longer contract.
They got Haniger.
That
and they also,
I think played a lot more into it. Where he said, "I'm not moving to first base. That's stupid."
that would be stupid on their part to even consider moving him to first base. He's not a first baseman.
Yeah, I mean, this is San Francisco. This is San Francisco we're talking about. This is California. This is the heart of Moneyball, where if you remember, anybody who's watched that garbage movie of Moneyball, when they're sitting in the room and they're like, all right, who are we going to get at first base? And the guy brings up like Hatterberg and Justice, and the scout goes, Billy, none of these guys play first base. And he's like, well, coach them up. Like that's what they believe out there is anybody can play first base. We can just teach them how. Like, no, I'm sorry. That's not how it works. And guys like Aaron Judge are not going to be like, yeah, I want to switch positions. That's for somebody who's like 37 and just trying to hang on to their career. Not guys who are going into their prime of their career. They're not looking to make that change.
Absolutely not. Especially not.
I think that played a little. I think that played a little. That was a little bit of a factor.
And I also think the fact that one of his closest friends on the team re-signed Anthony Rizzo. So
that how overshadowed does that get now? Because that's a big sign. That's a bigger signing for the Yankees. I mean, it's obviously not bigger in terms of, but it's a bigger piece for the Yankees.
Yeah, it solidifies first base for us. That's for sure. Like, and he had a pretty good year. His average wasn't what it usually is, but as far as power numbers, homers, RBIs, the defense that he provided at first base, because there was some balls that he scooped up and he saved a lot of people with some errors. So to me, that was a big signing, was re-signing Anthony Rizzo.
Plus, I'm just reading. It said lefty as a third base. I was just thinking, Aaron Judge is a right-handed batter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would he want to play in San Francisco, where if he's a lefty?
Well, because Aaron
lefties in San Francisco. That's where you hit the ball into the bay, and that's where the park. But the park is biggest in left field. Left field is the biggest part of
anyway,
whatever they call the ballpark. I still call everything in San Francisco Candlestick Park, but I know it's not. I know it's not that. But.
He doesn't really hit it. He doesn't, because he's not a pull home run hitter. He'll blast them, yes, but he can hit homers to all sides of the field. But yeah, why would you want to leave the comforts of Yankee Stadium, where you've already been playing whatever how many years? Or it's to me it was a no-brainer. It's San Fran. First of all, San Fran is not giving you an opportunity to go to the playoffs every single year. They're not. At least in New York, you have a shot at going to the playoffs every year. It's playoffs or bust.
Yeah, and you play for an organization that is set up to win. They're set up to win championships. They don't settle for. No. They don't settle for. All right, we had a good year. We made the playoffs. Like Yankees made the ALCS, and they're not settling. So you're playing for an organization that's not saying, all right, we had a good year. Now we can go in the tank for a couple of years until we come back. That's been San Francisco's MO for a long time. Oh, we got a good team. We made the World Series. Oh, but we didn't get there. Well, let's blow it up and let's try again in a couple more years. No, Aaron Judge wants to play every year. Wants to play for something every year. There's only one team that does that. I mean, we used to say there were a couple. We used to say it was Yankees and Red Sox, but even the Red Sox go in the tank now.
Oh yeah, and they just lost Xander Bogaerts to San Diego.
Yeah. What is it? Where are they going to put? Where are they going to put Xander?
We're going to put
Bogaerts?
Tatis. We're going to put Tatis at. Because then Xander Bogaerts is going to short. Tatis is suspended for like 80 games.
Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back early next. He'll be back early next year.
Okay.
So,
but
you're gonna you already have you already have that side of the field. Where are you gonna put Fernando Tatis? I'm guessing you're gonna put Tatis at second.
No, because you have Chrome. You have what's his face? Chromeworth. That's his name, right?
I don't know what the Padres. The Padres are just building up. They're like, all right, we'll just grab everybody.
And then you got Juan Soto.
You got Soto. You got Soto already.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking.
That's why it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe they've already soured on Tatis. So it is Andrew. It is Cronenworth, right? Yeah, he's their second baseman. He's a pretty good, solid second baseman. He averages 20-something homers a year. Then you got Machado at third. First base.
You got Machado. When you had Machado and Tatis back to back in the lineup, that was unstoppable. Then you add Soto to it.
Yeah.
But where are you going to fit? I mean, this isn't the net. I mean, maybe they're just going to DH somebody.
They just
cycle those guys through and DH somebody. Every
well,
every
they can move Tatis to first. They just lost Josh Bell to the Guardians.
Maybe I would guess they would probably. I mean, Machado's so good at third, you wouldn't move him.
Machado at third, you don't move.
Tatis is just a small dude. Tatis is a small dude to play him at first base. I mean, you need I mean, you look at guys who play first base; they need to be tall and rangy, so that when the ball gets thrown, overthrows. How many first basemen save overthrows because of how much they can get up? You can't have a short guy. I've never seen a short guy play first base.
I don't know. I don't even know what their lineup looks like right now. Like they've I don't know. They've made some changes. That's for sure.
So maybe they have soured on Tatis. Maybe they're just finally saying, you know what, we're better off without him. But I would think after all that they said, I mean, everything they said during this was they backed him 100%. So, but maybe that was just that was something we have to say. And now that they don't have to, they can get rid of him. I don't know.
They lose Clevenger. Bell is going to the Guardians. They re-signed one of their own players, so I don't see them. I don't see what the plan is with Tatis. To me, it's I don't know. I don't really know what their plan, what the sign of Bogaerts does for anything. Like, it don't make sense to me because you have Tatis. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
what I would say. That's what I was thinking as well. When you said Bogaerts went to San Diego, that's why I said, wait a minute, what are they trying to do? Maybe they're gonna go softball style and go with the short fielder.
I'm saying because Jake Cronenworth is still young.
Go with a go with a 5-man infield. Two outfilders and 5 infielders. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense what they're doing.
They don't even listen. They have 3 outfielders right there on their roster right now. They have Azokar, Grisham, who had a great year for them in center field. He was great, and Soto. Azokar and Soto both play right field. of course, Ozokor is not starting. He's going to play the regulated to the bench. And it's they just, I don't know. There's some changes there I definitely got to make. I'm looking at their roster and it just doesn't make sense to me.
And probably just speculation here, but they're probably going to move one of those guys to get a pitcher. That's the only thing I can think of is they're stockpiling trade bait to get somebody to pitch, because like you said, they lost Clevenger.
Yeah.
So they've got, well, like Wise just said, they have two guys that can play right field. I mean, they'll shift the outfield around. They'll find ways to put guys in the outfield.
They still got to fill slots. Bellinger's still out there. You never know. They might go after Cody Bellinger. There's some still options out there to play the outfield. I don't know. The Xander Bogaerts, they went hard after Aaron Judge, but he wasn't trying to hear it. I don't see where Bogaerts fits on that lineup. I really don't. Especially to me, as far as because then what do you do with Tatis? Do you put Tatis in the outfield? You put him in left field.
Do you put him in left field?
It's a possibility. It's a place to get that bat in the lineup. Oh yeah, I forgot Bellinger is on the Cubs now. Yes, the Cubs have been signing.
I was gonna say that San Diego doesn't want any part of Cody Bellinger anyway. After he robbed them a couple of years ago with that home run. After he robbed that home run a couple of years ago, that every San Diego fan, once they saw him run on the field, they'd be like, "Oh God, this guy ruined our season."
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense for me with that pick. But it looks like Cole isn't coming back. Appreciate everybody in the chat for coming through, leaving the comments. It's appreciate Deets for sticking through the rest of the show.
Doing baseball talk in December. How about that?
Yeah. Well, it is it is the winter meetings, so they're in San Diego right now doing the winter meetings, so it's not unheard of to talk baseball right now. But we appreciate everybody coming through. You know me, I don't close it out like the boys do. They got their own unique way of closing out, but I appreciate everybody stopping by. Appreciate everyone showing love. It's always a great time to spend some time with Deets and do what we do and talk about what we like to talk about, baseball.
and just quick, 9:00 tonight, 9 p.m. Fifth Down Sports Show. We will be live talking everything about the CFP, talking more about Alex Grinch, breaking down how he's still at USC. I don't understand it. We'll explain his whole career, and his failure upwards is amazing. But so we'll talk more Alex Grinch. We'll talk more CFP. Also breaking down how TCU can win, what they need to do to beat Michigan. And so we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about all the college all the teams, and early promotion next week is my favorite show of the year. We have our bowl intrigue game. We have our special guest. She will tell us what bowls she's interested in, and we break every bowl down, and it's a fun show. So next Thursday, be ready for that. And we're going to get going tonight at 9:00.
All right, y'all heard that. Tonight at 9:00, catch the Fifth Down Sports Show with Chris Deets. I'm your boy WIZE. I appreciate you all, and peace out.
Hey, Wise, go Giants! Go Giants this weekend.
I'm hoping. Believe me, I am.
Even I'm rooting for the Giants.
It would be nice to take a victory over the Eagles. I would love it. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.